Welcome to Edge Unscripted. Listen along for candid conversations with the Edge marketing team on a variety of subjects in the world of PR and marketing and other topics that have our attention. Let's go off script.
Since our agency's founding, our bread and butter has been public relations services. In fact, some of our listeners may not know that our predecessor agencies were called Legal Voice and Accounting Voice, companies focused on providing PR services, helping clients amplify their voices in the legal and accounting industries. The business has evolved to include an array of marketing services, as reflected by our name today, Edge Marketing. But to be clear, PR remains a critical piece of what we do for clients every day. Today, we are excited to be joined by our dear friend and global head of PR, Vicki LaBrosse, for a conversation about modern public relations as we all prepare for the biggest legal technology event of the year, Legal Week New York. Let's go off script. Hi, ladies.
Hello.
Hey, Jen. Hey, Mary.
Hi, Vicki.
Thanks for inviting me today. I know we talk all the time. This is kind of fun.
I know. We're so excited that you could join us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. Welcome to Edge Unscripted.
Yeah, we're still newbies at this, right? This is only our third episode, I think. So
third time's a charm.
Through.
Woo, yeah.
I know, like working
Hopefully.
through a few kinks, but we're getting there. We're, really enjoying this opportunity to connect with each other and bring members of our team in so people can get to know us all a little bit better and understand what do we do all day, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Yes. Work hard and play harder.
Do work hard. I'm really distracted today. The wind is howling at my house. Vicki, you also live in the Twin Cities area, although we're across town from each other. Is it windy where you're at? Like, it's crazy windy.
There's a wind advisory. It is windy. And today is our sanitation day. So our trucks are coming by and bins are blowing over and all sorts of fun things. So hopefully it's not too loud in my background here, but yep, we got the wind. How about in Long Island, Mary? What's going on out there with the weather?
Yeah.
It's actually been pretty warm the past couple of days. It's been in like the 50s. And I feel like the past couple of weeks has been a little chillier and windier, like you're saying. So it's been a bit warmer and nicer to go outside on a walk every now and then.
We'll enjoy it now. What do we call that in Minnesota? Full spring? So
I thought the groundhog said 6 more weeks of winter, but maybe not in New York.
Yeah, that would be great.
So, I always laugh about that because I think, really, only 6 more weeks of winter? If that's the call on February 2nd, I'm all about it. I'm like, you're telling me winter's going to be done in Minnesota by March 15th? I'm here for it because our winter often goes much longer than that. Yeah. So in my mind, like 6 weeks, that's it.
Yeah, that's true. Oh my gosh.
That's doable.
Yeah. Hey, well, let's chat. Since Vicki's our guest today, why don't we start? Why don't you just tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Yeah.
What do we need? What are the most important things that we need to know about Vicki LaBrosse?
Yes. So professionally, I've been with Edge for, quite a few years. I'm not really great at math. I think it was 2007 when I had joined, and a few others joined at that point too. And most of us are still here today. So we really do have a good time together. For Edge, you guys know that I work with you on a daily basis as the Director of Global Public Relations, which means I try really hard to connect our clients with the appropriate media opportunities and to get the word out there with your help, of course. So it's been such a fun, I guess you can call it a job because I do get paid to have, because it's different every day, right? And there's always new challenges and new trends emerging in the space. So it's really fun to learn and grow and make mistakes and have success. So yeah, that's kind of what I do for Edge. On a personal note, I am an empty nester. Woo-hoo. Raised 4 lovely children who are grown and flown, and my husband Dan and I are enjoying our quiet and clean home. And we have a new granddaughter who is turning 1 next month, and so we're as empty nested as we are. We're still pretty busy. So it's, yeah.
Yeah. How is little baby girl? Does she have any new tricks lately?
Yeah, so she is just about ready to walk. She's pulling herself up on everything, taking a couple like tentative steps and, crashing down. And now she's in the cutting of the molars phase. So that's fun for mom and dad. Good luck, mom and dad. Been there, done that. So
Yeah,
I,
that's when you get to leave, right? Or you don't have to stay. And
absolutely.
yeah,
I get
that's
to
nice.
sleep all night. So it's lovely. It's a good gig.
It's a
my
good, well,
goodness.
and that's a really fun age. Their personalities are really coming alive at that point, right? They're a little bit
Yes.
boring the first few
Yes.
weeks they're born, but then around this point, they're really getting some personality. That's a lot of fun.
Right. Right.
Wow. I can't believe she's almost one.
I can't either, Mary. It's crazy. I
Time
mean, I thought
flies.
my kids grew fast. The grandkids are growing even faster. So
Oh my gosh.
hang on to your hats, ladies. I mean, Mary, it's a long, long, long ways away from you.
That's okay. Yeah. I have time.
I always say the older I get, the faster time goes,
Mhm.
right?
Yep. Yep. My
Hmm.
parents have said the same thing. I'm like, oh, joy. And they're right.
Have that to look forward to.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So, Vicki, you mentioned about how our job is different every day. And I think
Mhm.
we've all talked about that. That's one of the things we love about it. I have been with the agency for a really long time as well. And I think that's what keeps it really fresh and it never gets boring. First of all, our clients always have new and interesting things going on, but
Mhm.
the whole ecosystem in which we operate is constantly changing. The
Mhm.
technology is constantly changing. It just as far as how we do what we do. Talk a little bit about what from your role, how you've seen things really change in the past. Oh, what is that? I'm bad at math too. 14, 15
Right,
years
right. A
now.
long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, just that the evolution you've seen of the, particularly with respect to media relations and the PR work that we do.
Yeah, so back when I first took this role on, which was well over a decade ago, press releases are the main, and they still are today, and were then the main way to communicate with the media and the industry to let them know what announcements you have going on, if you hired somebody new, if you're putting out a new product, if you're hosting an event. And when I first started, they were pretty much text only and maybe a logo, company logo. They've really evolved. The space is really embracing multimedia to really get some great outcomes with your PR plan. And by multimedia, I mean we're using a lot of images in press releases. If you have a press release that's announcing a new hire, you usually include a headshot. If you're expanding your office, maybe it's a shot of the new office space. Journalists and bloggers really like to have images to accompany their articles. It's one of the top requests that I get. We have, I see a lot of infographics being used that can highlight the key data points and trends that you're trying to make in your release. There's a lot of interactive elements that I've been seeing included, like reports and white papers and links to those, little calls to action if you wanted to schedule a demo, let's say it's a product announcement. So we're seeing a lot of those types of things being incorporated into news announcements. My favorite, and I talked about this earlier this year, I wrote an article about it. So when you get a chance, check out Edge Marketing's article arsenal and you'll see all of our brilliant minds at work. But one of my favorites is video. I'm seeing a lot of video that's being
Mhm.
incorporated into press releases. And it really gives an aspect of visual storytelling. So it captures the essence of the story in a dynamic and compelling way than just plain words do. And also, studies have shown that press releases that have an embedded video get higher engagement rates. So that's what you want. You want people to be clicking on your release, checking you out, going to your website. So if you have a video on there, people are apt to click on that. And I don't know about you girls, and Mary, you're, a couple years younger than Jennifer and I, but TikTok is a big deal and Instagram. And honestly, even my antique self prefers to watch a short video versus reading a 2,500 page white paper. So it's just a quick, easy way to be able to digest some information and it's visual and fun, and everybody likes that. One other thing that I want to say about videos in your press releases, which I recommend you do when it's appropriate, is they also give you better SEO. Search engines favor video content. So that means press releases with embedded videos are likely to appear in search results, and that increases their visibility. Also, another thing with video is that it's super versatile and you can repurpose it across multiple channels.
Yeah.
So, social media, your websites, your email newsletters, you can take that same video clip that you put in your news announcement and get a lot of mileage out of it. So, that's like the biggest thing that I have seen evolve over the last 10 years is really embracing
Yeah.
multimedia in news.
We've talked about video and how that's really taken off, even in things that you mentioned, TikTok and Instagram, and even now in LinkedIn, the
Yeah.
algorithms really favor video
Yep.
content. Instagram is all about the reels, right? Like it's
Mhm.
constant. The video clips seem to get a lot more traction in that way.
Mhm.
Vicki, I don't know if you have done a lot of them recently, but talk a little bit about what kind of videos you think might have the most impact. Is it for a product announcement? I mean, are
Yeah.
people embedding actual demos, links to
Yeah,
demos in their
so
videos, or maybe one-to-one interviews if it's more about a person or a different company announcement? What's the kind of the substance of the content of some of those videos that you're seeing get
yeah, that's a great
make some
question. And
impact?
it really does vary by announcement. But for
Mhm.
product announcements, I am seeing a lot of short demos. I mean, you don't want to click on a 30-minute demo, but a
Mhm.
short clip on a specific feature that's maybe being highlighted in your product. And then at the end of that clip, it'll be like schedule here for a full demo of the product. So it's kind of a double, twofer, I guess you would say.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
seeing a lot of that, seeing if it's like a new hire, especially at the C-suite level, sometimes the new, COO or CEO or CIO or CTO or C whatever, will give a few words about how they're excited to join the company or what their vision is. It's just a minute long or so. Those are kind of fun to watch because you can put a face with a name and a voice with a face with a name. So seeing
Yeah.
a lot of that. Sometimes if it's an event and they've previously hosted, there'll be like some footage of where the event was last year. Maybe it's a party that the company hosted or some footage of the trade show floor. So yeah, it's
Oh
really a
yeah.
variety and they're all fun to watch.
Yeah. I feel like that's a good tip because I do see some press releases with video and multimedia, but not enough. I feel like if that's what's trending, I
You
feel
know,
like
it
one
it
hasn't jumped on
is.
it.
It is. And I feel like with our clients specifically, I mean, sometimes that's tough to pull together, but if we're strategic about it and we know that we have a product coming out in the next month, it's easy to pull together a quick little demo and record it and pop it into your press
Mhm.
release or doing something like this, but making it a 30-second video of your new CEO or
Yeah.
so. Yeah, I'm hoping with our coaching, at least on our agent in our agency, that we will see more and more of that and be using more and more of that. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think we're seeing the tools that are available to all of us that are getting, they're easily accessible, they're affordable, they're user friendly. Even just we talk about we're such amateurs, right? We're doing this podcast. What do we think we're doing? But just finding a software platform to use to do editing and things like that, and finding that it's really intimidating when you get started, or it feels
Mhm.
like it is for people like us who aren't super ingrained in all of that. But then once you get into it, there really are some great tools to do exactly what you talked about, Vicki. Just coming up with short clips of
Mhm.
things, doing voiceover, doing what there's
Right.
a lot of different tools out there at our disposal that we didn't have
Mhm.
even 5 or 10 years ago, right?
Right. Absolutely. Take
Yep.
advantage.
I also think it's just everyone's so comfortable in what they know that it's just adapting to change and having to implement that and figure out how to do it. It takes a little bit of time to get used to. So it is good in the long run, but everyone just is afraid, I think, to change
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah,
especially in the business world when you're so comfortable in the routine you have of different things, especially press releases. They are typically standard for each company. So adding in that multimedia is just a change that some people have not taken the leap yet. But
right, right. But they should, because I think the more ways you can get your word out, the more different ways that you can get your word out, the better it's going to position you.
mhm.
So you might get
Right.
somebody from the older generation who prefers to read word by word in your press release. And then you might get somebody who doesn't have a ton of time and they just want to click on the video. You can give them the same information in a different way. So I
Exactly.
think
Yeah,
keeping that in mind
I
is,
love that.
yeah,
That's great.
And we talk about that with our clients all the time with different communications or types of content to repurpose what you do and offer. You really have to have a menu of different ways that you're offering what you want to put in front of people. And I think the benefit of our situation, having you, Vicki, in the role that you're in, is got these really great relationships with a lot of folks in our space and in the different segments where we work, accounting or legal in particular, where if you if we send them a video clip on behalf of a client or pair that with a press release, here's an intro, maybe we can get them to watch a 20 or 30-second clip that's a short summary of what they're going to read, whether it's a white paper or even just a lengthier press release, because we've got a lot to say about a product announcement. You can quickly give them a short digest of what it's going to be that helps people make a faster decision. But
right,
whether or not I want to read this
right.
1,000-word thing that you've just sent me, like you said, the versatility of it, but just the being able to meet people where they are and give them information, how they best want to absorb it. That's
Hmm.
Yeah,
a nice
absolutely.
way to go. Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about media relationships. You've been
Yeah.
working, like we've talked about, you've been cultivating a lot of really strong relationships on behalf of our agency, on behalf of
Mhm.
our clients. Like I said, specifically in the professional services segments that we serve for a number of years. Talk a little bit about the importance of that, but then also how that's beneficial, how we use that to our advantage with any number of different ways that we need to connect with them for our clients on a day-to-day basis.
Right, right. So, yes, as a PR director, a bulk of my job is media relations, and it's also my favorite part. It's my sweet spot.
Hmm.
So, it truly is an art, I think. And I think developing strong media relationships is something that takes time. We always tell our clients who are asking about ROI with PR, which is always hard to measure, that PR is a long game. And so is media relations. And as you can see in the word relations, it's a relationship. Relationships take time to build. So one thing that I always tell people is if you're new at this or, it's a new role for you and you're trying to get started in the space, is to not go in with a pitch right away. I don't come up to you and say, "Hey, Jennifer, do you want to be my best friend?" No, I want to know who you are, what you're all about. Are we a fit? What makes you tick? And so starting out by researching and targeting journalists in your space that are a fit for what your company does is a good first step. And then, even before pitching them, you want to start maybe by following them on social media. Maybe you comment on articles and coverage that they've produced. You want to build that rapport before you reach out. So, I think those are the two big things that people miss when they get started. They don't identify the right journalists to target. They just think anybody is fair game. And they don't start the relationship off on, "Hi, my name's Vicki. I love the article that you just wrote on data privacy. Thanks for sharing that valuable information with our industry." Something quick and easy like that goes a long way. And it's the first step in developing that relationship. You also need to become a reliable source for your media friends. So that means you provide timely, accurate, and newsworthy information. It's not the time to be sending them your company's promotion. There's a way to advertise, and it's not by pitching the media. Becoming a reliable source and giving them the information that they're looking for is key.
Mhm.
Um, so once you kind of established the relationship and you've warmed them up and you know what they're about and you know what their beat is, then the next thing is to really craft a compelling narrative. So something that is a personalized pitch tailored to what it is that they cover, tailored to their audience. This is not the time to send out a mass email. We all have lists and there are times to do that, but this is not one of those times. And I will say with your pitching, keep it short, keep it concise, be clear. This is if, let's say, you're pitching one of your thought leaders at your company for a bylined article. I always end my pitch with, this article will outline XYZ. So they know exactly what it is that they're going to cover.
Mhm.
If you're pitching something that is more, let's say, an expert in your company or an idea that you would like them to write about and cover, again, using a strong hook, highlight what would make that unique. Why is it relevant for them? Why would they want to cover it? Maybe it's a follow-up to a story they did and a similar topic, and this could be a part two. Or maybe you have a source that could comment on what they wrote about. Just making it clear, concise, using a strong hook, and being a valuable resource to them. You want them to see you as somebody who can assist, not somebody who is a pest. So sometimes it's a fine line to walk, and I have fallen in the pest category, not so fun. But the other thing I will say with media relations is to always be responsive and be respectful of deadlines, especially if you had an editor agree to an article and they say, okay, I'd like that in 3 weeks. Find out what their word count is. And on the day that it's due, don't go to them and say, geez, can I get an extension? If you know you're running short, then plan that ahead of time. I need an extra few days. Is that possible? But journalists also have deadlines, especially reporters. They have editors to answer to. So trying to get your information to them when they ask for it is key. And always be available for following up too. There might be additional information that they need. And if you just click send and walk away, that usually doesn't reflect well on you. So being available for any sort of follow-up is important. We talked a little bit about at the beginning when you're developing that relationship for social media with journalists that you are going to want to also do your part in sharing their work, not just commenting on it, but maybe sharing it and helping them to build relationships with other people in the space. You know, it's not all about you. Maybe it's connecting them to somebody else who would be a good source. Probably not one of your competitors, but you know, somebody, an influencer in the space that they can collaborate with. So I like to say use social listening. So that's another thing that helps you develop media relations is to monitor trends and conversations that they're covering in the space. And sometimes it's not commenting, it's just watching. What are they writing about? What are they talking about? So just being up on that. Providing real-time updates on social media is great too. You can come out right then with breaking news for your company and tag a journalist in it. Say, hey, you know, this just happened if you're interested in covering it, or I could connect you with an expert in our space. So those are some great ways to leverage social media to build your media relationships. The other thing that I want to say, and I said this at the very beginning, and I just want to reiterate it, is to maintain long-term media relations. So within our space, specifically technology, legal, and accounting, it's very rare for a reporter or an editor to go to culinarycuisine.com after working at the National Law Journal. So if they leave their outlet or publication, it's usually within the space. And if you become their buddy, they're going to take you with. They're going to contact you for a story that they're working on. Hey, do you have any sources? I'm working on this. I'm over at this outlet now. So those relationships are valuable and they're long term. So just make sure that you do your part in being able to extend those relationships by thanking your journalists for their coverage and support and connecting them, like I said before, with people in the industry that would help them and just sharing their insights and updates beyond just pitching stories. So those are some ways that you can really maintain long-term relationships.
Those are some really good tips. Vicki, you shared a lot of good suggestions for people. And I feel like it all really kind of boils down to what you were talking about with the relationships and understanding that it's not just all about you and what you want from them, right? You have to position yourself or your company as somebody who can be valuable to them. Not just It's not just about what can they do for you.
Right.
Help them understand over time how you can be valuable to them. And that doesn't always mean there's something in it for you,
Right.
right? When you're trying to be helpful to them, but it
Yeah.
really helps to cultivate what you want to be a long-term relationship. So there's opportunities on both sides to be valuable to one another. You and I have talked about over the years relevancy,
Yes.
being respectful of their time and really taking the time to understand this is their audience. These are the subjects they cover. This is what they want to do, so that you're not wasting their time with a pitch that's completely irrelevant to their audience, or wasting their
Absolutely.
time with a topic they just covered last month, right? So it requires a lot to stay on top of all of that. And even though in some ways the media ecosystem in both these spaces has dwindled a little bit over the years, obviously that's, I think, a natural thing that with all the technology that we've seen, all the digital publications and with social media and other things, I think it makes it more important than ever
Mm-hmm.
to maintain those relationships and stay informed and on top of what they're doing, what they're writing, what they're sharing with their audience, how their audience is changing. And again, to be respectful of their time and keeping things relevant.
Absolutely. Yep. That is key. Yep.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's your own time too. You don't want to waste your own time reaching out to somebody who's not a fit for you. So it's in your best interest to do a little bit of homework first.
Mhm.
So yeah, I agree.
We have a big event coming up in the legal industry that we support, which we look forward to in-person events because we're all remote. We don't get to spend a lot of time together in person. So I know I really cherish the times when we all get to be on site somewhere. And especially an event like Legal Week, it's one of the biggest legal industry events of the year. We see a lot of not just our colleagues, our clients, but other, friends and former clients, folks that we've known in this space for a long time. So that's always really good. We use that opportunity to spend some time with our friends in the media. And Vicki is the primary facilitator of all of that activity for us. So you've got a few busy weeks coming up here, don't you?
I do. It's go time.
It is go time. I love that. I love that. So do you have maybe one or two quick tips for anyone listening who might have an opportunity to meet in person with media? This is something we do for our clients. It's kind of a value add. We try and get them briefings with media when they're in person at these events. It's a nice space, sort of on neutral territory, where we can connect them on topics that are relevant, of course. But when a company has an opportunity to get, even if it's just a quick 10 or 15 minutes with somebody from the media that might be interested in covering what they do, what can they do to make the most of those opportunities?
Yeah, that's a great question. And
That's a whole other podcast
it's
episode.
a
Is that
whole thing. I
right?
mean, you said one or two tips, I could give you 25. Um, and some of these will kind of reiterate what I was talking about before in the art of media relationships. So before your show or your conference, do your research, find out who's going to be there, find out who would be most interested in covering your offerings. Reach out to them early. And this is so funny. Last year, I was sitting on a media roundtable discussion, and they said, yeah, I'm getting requests like the first day of the conference to meet with folks. By that time, my schedule is already booked, or even the day or two before. So reach out early. And by early, I mean a few weeks. I mean, obviously 3 months before, nobody knows what their schedule is, but the early bird gets the worm. So
Yeah.
you want to get on their radar before everybody else, or at least in a timely perspective. So I always like to provide appropriate documentation prior to the meeting. So that means maybe a briefing document that would include logistics. Where are you meeting? When are you meeting? How long is the meeting going to be? who are you meeting with? The bio, some company background, maybe some news that they're announcing. Always include your contact information. So giving media that ahead of time is super helpful. So they're not scrambling, they know what to expect. All of my media friends are always really grateful for that information. The other thing, and Jennifer, you had mentioned this, is, whether it's 10 or 15 minutes, that's actually a great time. Again, my media friends are always like, they want an hour. I don't know what we're going to talk about for an hour. So keep it short, be respectful. If you can get your spiel out in 15 minutes, do that, because you're more likely to get a meeting with them than you are if you ask for an hour of their time.
Yeah.
So a couple of things that I wanted to note, and I don't know if we have time, but what and what not to do during a meeting. Can we talk about that? Do we have a few minutes?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so during media interviews while you're on site, these are the face-to-face meetings, and really for any sort of a media interview, like whether it's on Zoom or a phone call or whatnot. But on site specifically, you want to plan for delays, reschedules, cancellations. A lot of times people are running from one end of a conference center to another, so they might be running late, or they say, can we move this till tomorrow? Try to be patient. We're all trying to cram a lot of things in a couple of days. So be ready and let your clients know that kind of thing is going to happen. This has happened maybe a couple of times, even though we've coached our clients. When you meet the media person face to face, know who they are, please. Know their name, know who they write for, know what it is that they cover. There's been a couple of embarrassing situations where a client has sat down and said, now, who are you? And what do you know? So please make sure that you know who you're talking to before you start the conversation.
Right.
And then ask them what they'd like to know. Don't just launch into a sales pitch. What is it that you want to know? Most of the time, they just want an overview of what's going on with your company, but maybe they want to know about a specific trend within the space. So be prepared to talk about what it is that they want to talk about. And this is my biggest tip ever, and I put it right in the middle of my list of things to not forget. You're always on record. What do they say when you get arrested? What they say can be used against you in a court of law. You're always on record. So don't nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Off the record, Bob, I'd like to say, assume everything is on the record. You're going to get published. You're going to get quoted. So make sure what you're saying is what you want to be saying.
Yeah.
So on the record. And on that note, speak slowly and clearly. I know sometimes we get nervous or we have a lot of information we want to get out and our speech speeds up. And with that, we don't stop, we don't pause, we don't ask, do you have any questions? Or what are your thoughts on that? Remember to do those things while you're having these conversations. Don't ramble. It's okay to not talk. It's okay for there to be some silences and pauses. It's natural and normal.
Oh my gosh. I have a whole list of like briefing tips, and I go through it with some of my newer clients who haven't had those opportunities before. And there's such a long list of tips and best practices you can give people, but that it's okay to listen. It's also okay to say, I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that. Can I get back to you? Yes. Rather than making something up or
don't do that.
They don't. I mean, we've lots of times had people ask questions about something specific that if you don't feel like you have a really thoughtful, smart, factual answer to, don't just go off the cuff and try to make something up. I think it's far better to say, that's a really good question. I don't have a great answer for you on that one. Can I get back to you? And I think everyone's human. They understand that.
Right. And they'd rather get accurate information than something that you made up off the cuff. Yeah. And you can get yourself in some trouble if you're quoting things that aren't accurate. So yes.
And you made another good point too about it not being just a sales pitch, because the media, they're not going to buy your product. Mm-hmm. You don't have to go into the same type of sales spiel that you do. The information they're looking for about your company or about your offerings is different from what a prospective client wants or a customer wants. So you have to recognize that and frame the information you're sharing accordingly, so they don't feel like they're being sold to, because that's just such a turnoff.
Right. Absolutely. And if they do ask you something during an interview that you are not comfortable answering, or that you shouldn't answer or can't, use a bridging technique. And by that, I mean something like, I'm not able to comment on that. However, I can tell you XYZ. Or maybe
Right.
what's important here, John, is one, two, three. Just something easy or something as simple as let me clarify. And then that allows you to redirect the conversation and where you want it to go. So that's not deceitful. It's just a way to maybe not answer something that you're not comfortable answering. So that's something to keep in mind. And please be respectful of their time. If you book 15 minutes, end the conversation in 15 minutes. And think about if you were the person after that meeting who was being pushed off and delayed and late, how you'd feel. So try to be respectful of the time and end the conversation when the meeting time is over.
Yeah.
So those are some top tips. I always like to end my media briefings with trying to identify a next step. So let me send you that press release again, or it looks like you're interested in the product. Let me follow up with you next week and to schedule a demo. So, and then do that. Follow up appropriately. Nothing worse than leaving them hanging. So yeah, those are my tips.
So Vicki, I can tell you're really in legal week mode. All of this is really top of mind for you.
It is. Yes. Yes. I've been doing some outreach to my friends in the media and working with you and Mary and the rest of the team to get ready for these meetings specifically. Legal Week is such a fun show. It's dynamic, it's interesting, it's fast paced. It's also a lot of work. And leading up to it is probably the most work, but laying that groundwork and that foundation to have a successful event is worth it. And it's really fun to get there and to see all these meetings take place and to, not everything is going to be flawless, but, most of what you've worked for is being executed in a way that is successful for you, for the media, and for our clients. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for it.
Good. Well, I'm excited to see you in person, both of you. This has been such a good conversation. Covered a lot of ground in the world of PR, media relations, and our world, the world that you work in, which has been really fun. Mary, did you have any other questions or anything for Vicki today?
I don't think so. Thank you for joining us, Vicki. This is such a great episode, I think, especially with all the events and conferences that are to come in 2025. It will be a very educational episode for our listeners and viewers. So thank you for joining us and taking some time out of your day to join us.
Absolutely. I always love chatting with you girls, and it's I can't wait to see both of you in New York in a few weeks.
I know.
I know it'll be great, and we'll definitely have you back for another podcast episode in the future.
I've got a lot to say, as you can tell.
Yeah. Oh boy.
I love it. For now, that's a wrap on this episode of Edge Unscripted.
We appreciate you joining us and hope you enjoyed the conversation. Connect with us by leaving a comment and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.